Hi, welcome back to Happy Apple Core Homestead. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to show you how to make my most requested recipe. This is a chocolate pie. This chocolate pie is kind of the consistency of a cheesecake, but there's no cheese in it. There's no dairy in it at all, actually, unless you count the butter, and you could substitute that for, like Earth Balance or whatever. So it's also gluten-free. I know you hear like gluten-free, dairy-free, it's gonna taste nasty. So you've got to try it. I promise you, if you like chocolate and you like pie, you're gonna love this. All my friends ask for the recipe, my kids ask for it all the time, and there's never any leftovers. I'm going to show you first what the ingredients are and what to expect. This pie, you really have to, it's kind of like a 2-day process in a way. You're gonna need some coconut milk. And the part of the coconut milk that we are going to use is only the cream. So not the water part of the coconut milk. And the easiest way to get that is to refrigerate your can of coconut milk overnight, and then just rises to the top, and it's easy to scoop out. So the night before you want to make your pie, put this in the fridge. Another thing that's important to know is once you make this pie, it does need to refrigerate overnight to have that most perfect set. Alternatively, you could make it early in the morning if you're serving it at night. I always make it the day before. So I'm having a dinner party tomorrow, and I'm making this pie today, and I thought I would show you while I'm at it. All right, these are the ingredients and the things that you're gonna need. You will need a food processor. We're gonna be using some dates here, and the only way to really get those to the consistency that we need is with a food processor. So make sure you have one of those on hand. You'll need the S-hook tool. I don't know if that's not what they call it. S-blade, maybe? Okay, this guy. You'll need this one. The chopper. Clearly, I'm not up on the food processor lingo. You're gonna need a saucepan, a pie plate, butter. Again, if you want it to be 100% dairy-free, you can use Earth Balance. If you want to, it's people say it's a good substitute. You're gonna need a little bit of vanilla, coconut oil. You're going to need 6 ounces of chocolate. Oh my gosh, I'm losing my voice. 6 ounces of chocolate. I use 100%, and you don't have to. If you want it to be sweeter, trust me, if you think this is gonna be a bitter pie, it's not, I promise. The dates that go in here are the perfect amount of sweetness for 100% chocolate, although I have used the 80-something%, and it was great too. It wasn't too sweet, but I wouldn't use below that personally. And then dates. These are whole organic dates. We'll be taking the pits out of them later. And the crust. You can make a completely grain-free pie by making a nut crust of some kind. I like a graham cracker crust. You could even use like a regular pie crust. Use any kind of crust you want, but today we're gonna be making a graham cracker crust. And obviously, I can't say that this is like 100% from scratch, since like I legit bought these at the store. The other thing that I'm going to make, I don't know if you can really see this very well, but these are bags of blackberries that I picked from my property, and I froze them last summer specifically so that I could put it on ice cream or pies. I'm going to heat it up on the stove later and make a really thick kind of a puree, and I'll get all the seeds out. I might not put that on the video because it's really just a topping and it's a little bit time consuming anyway. If I feel like it, like if I really get in the mood or we're still doing the pie at the same time and I'm doing that, then I'll show you. But making a fruit puree is just that simple. You take your fruit, it could be frozen fruit, fresh fruit, put it in a pot, put some kind of one of those splatter guards over the top. So you don't want to put a lid on it, right? Because you want that extra liquid to evaporate off, and so that the fruit gets really nice and thick. And then when it gets about almost as thick as you want it, strain it through a fine mesh sieve to get all the little tiny seeds out, and then throw it back on until it's the thickness that you want. And just remember that once you put it in the refrigerator and it cools down, it's gonna get even thicker. So you'll just wanna cook it like almost as thick as you want it, and then stick it in the fridge, and then it'll probably be perfect. So that's how you make the fruit puree if you want that. Also, this is just really good with whipped cream or ice cream, or just plain if you're not into all of that extra stuff. Okay, I'm going to just jump right in with the steps on how to make this pie. If you try it, let me know if you like it. See you in a bit. We're all ready to get started now. Go ahead and preheat your oven to 325 degrees while we get ready to make the crust. Over here, I have my pans ready. I went ahead and put the berries on the heat because I don't want to forget to do them while I'm playing around with you guys. And we're going to take our 3 tablespoons of butter and get that melted up however you like. While that's melting, if you're going to use the graham cracker method, go ahead and get those opened up and into your food processor. And you're just going to want to make sure that these get nice and crumbly. Alright, that looks pretty. We'll go with that. Now we're going to take our graham cracker crumbs and put them into a separate bowl. Now pour in the melted butter. And you're going to want to stir this up until all of the graham cracker crumbs get moistened. If for some reason 3 tablespoons wasn't enough butter, you can add more. But usually I find that this is enough. It just takes a little bit of agitation to get everything all covered. So it just takes a couple minutes. This is about what it should look like. And you can tell if it has enough butter if you can press it down and it kind of starts to mold in the shape of your spoon, like so. And this was 3 tablespoons of butter. Now there's no reason to grease the bottom of your pan. There's quite a bit of butter in here. I've never found that the crust sticks inappropriately to the bottom of the pan. So go ahead and just pour it all in there. And now the fun part, we get to play with our food. So spread it out on the bottom, and you're going to want to go up the sides as well. And just form your graham cracker crust. Okay, and then you're going to want to get the sides. I do recommend that you make sure that the corners, like down here, in this area here, don't get too thick, because when you cut the pie, if these corners are too thick, it just like a mouthful of crust and not enough pie. Well, there's my crust. Feel free to work your crust until it's as perfect and beautiful as you'd like it to be. I'm satisfied with this. Now that we have our crust formed, we're just gonna pop it in the oven. It just dinged and let me know it's 325. We're gonna put it in for 10 minutes. While your pie crust is in the oven for 10 minutes, this would be a perfect time to get your food processor rinsed out because we are going to be using that next. Okay, the food processor is all rinsed out and we still have 4 minutes left on our timer for the crust, so I thought now would be a good time to measure out the coconut cream. And we'll need 2 cups. And when you refrigerated your coconut milk overnight, the cream rises straight to the top. So it's nice and thick like this, and that's totally normal. That's exactly what it's supposed to look like. And I am going to use huge heaping cups because, I don't know, I just always have, and I don't really want to waste the coconut milk in here, and it's always made the pie like still amazing. So you can rest assured that if you put extra cream or extra chocolate or extra dates, like this is still going to be an amazing pie. It's pretty forgiving. You know, some recipes, if you don't get those weights and measurements just exactly perfect, then it doesn't turn out right, but this is not one of those kind of recipes. So even though this is probably like pushing 3 cups, it's all going in there. And because I got so much coconut cream, I may put in a couple extra dates, maybe a little extra ounce of chocolate. But I'll make sure that the actual recipe is down in the description box. And if you follow the recipe perfectly, I promise you won't be disappointed. Honestly, I can almost promise you won't be disappointed even if you take liberties like I'm taking right now. So anyways, now that your coconut cream is on the stove, go ahead and turn that up just to medium-low for now, because we're gonna need to take that crust out in 2 more minutes and get that on a cooling rack, and then we'll go to the next step. While the coconut cream is heating up, we're gonna get the dates ready. These are whole dates and they've got pits inside of them, and you definitely wanna make sure that you get the pits out. Also, sometimes at the top of a date, I don't know if I have an example, but sometimes at the top of a date, there'll be like a little nub of the pit, and you'll wanna make sure that that comes out as well, because any hard chunks will not be good. Once you do that, you can just throw them right into your food processor. And we're gonna use at least 16 dates. So if you're like me and you're a little liberal on the coconut cream and you're like, I'm just gonna put in a little bit of extra sweetness, a little bit of extra chocolate, that's fine. Ah, here, that's the little nub I was talking about. Like this hard little thing, it's like as hard as the pit. You want to make sure those don't get accidentally put into your food processor. Now that our dates are in the food processor and we're just still waiting on that coconut milk to get almost up to a boil, not quite a boil, we're going to go ahead and put our chocolate in. And you can, I'm just going to kind of break it up a little bit and throw it in there because the food processor does most of the work. But if you want to make it smaller, you can. Up to you. The warm coconut milk is going to melt this chocolate pretty fast. So I just do these little chunks. Seems to work good for me. Each one of these is 4 ounces. So I'm going to use a little bit of this one as well. Now that the chocolate's in, all we're doing now is waiting for the coconut cream to just very slowly come up to temperature. We definitely do not want to burn it. That would taste really grody. Now that the coconut milk is almost to the right temperature, we're going to go ahead and move on over here and add the couple shakes of salt, a half a cup of melted coconut oil, and some vanilla. You'll want to add about 4 teaspoons of vanilla. Okay, we have some melted coconut oil here. We're just gonna pour that right in. That will help to melt the chocolate as well. And a few shakes of salt. How much you use is up to you. I require a lot of salt. And then 4 teaspoons of vanilla. And the vanilla that I made is not ready yet, so I'm using the store-bought, and that works fine too. The last thing we need to add is the nice piping hot coconut milk. We're just going to pour that right in on the top. Get that over the chocolate chunks, help that melt down. Now, here's the part that nobody likes. This takes a very long time to get smooth. And I'm not going to put you through listening to 10 minutes of this bad boy on high, but that's about how long it's going to take. So I'm going to put this on high, I'm going to set a timer for 10 minutes, and then we're going to come back and look and see if it is smooth. The key to this pie is that the filling is 100% smooth. You don't want any chunks in there. That's gross. So let's get started, and I'll see you back in 10 minutes. Halfway through the time, you'll want to open this up and just take a spatula and run it along the edges of all of your surfaces in case there's any nice little date pieces hanging out there. And it's already starting to look really smooth. We are about 6 minutes in. Once this gets totally smooth, I'll give you the time on how long this batch took. 15 minutes was the magical number to get this nice and smooth. I do recommend that you check it 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and 15 minutes with a spoon on your tongue because it's the only way you're gonna know if this is the perfect consistency. So once it gets as smooth as you want it to be, oh my gosh, my hair is, you guys. Okay, we don't want hair on food. Once it gets to like the smoothness that, you know, satisfies your palate, go ahead and turn it off. And we're gonna put it into the crust that we baked earlier. And there's no baking at this point. It's done. Well, I mean, mostly it's done. We don't have to bake it anymore. This portion is no bake. So we're gonna pop it into our crust. I'm gonna smooth it out however you want to. I like to lick the spoon. I'll do that later. I'll spare you. Then stick it in the fridge overnight and it's done. Then tomorrow you will have an amazing pie. And I mean, like, I kind of would show you my facial reaction to eating the pie, but trust me, this is a good pie. And like, my family's coming over tomorrow and we're gonna eat this pie and we're gonna have some chicken satay, and yeah, I'm not gonna do any more video. You're just gonna have to take my word for it. Try this recipe yourself. It is my recipe. You can adjust it however you want. I have tons of ideas on how you can adjust this. If you want it to like taste a little different, or you want a different kind of crust, I can hook you up with a different type of recipe. Let me know in the comments. And that's it for today, folks. I'm already kind of tuckered out for the day. I still gotta finish up those blackberries and make dinner. And I'm sure that all of my animals are anxiously awaiting my attention because, as you can probably see, it is dark now. All right, thanks everybody for watching my video. I appreciate you guys, and I would love to hear from you in the comments, and I will see you next time. Okay, bye.